February 26, 2023 meeting of the Board of Trustees of Vicksburg Warren School District. Happy New Year to everyone. We're going to start out with an invocation. Mr. Bill Wright, would you honors, please?
Sure. Thank you, guys. Always an honor and a privilege to be able to come and lead in prayer, and privilege today to be here with Vicksburg Warren County staff. Let's go to the Lord in prayer. Will you bow with me tonight? Father God, tonight we come and humble in the presence of the Almighty. God, just to acknowledge that you are God. You're the God of Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. You're our God. Father, your word tells us if any man lacks wisdom, let him ask of him who gives liberally to all who ask. So God, tonight we come and we ask for wisdom and discernment. Father, remind us tonight of just your profound care and love for children. God, help us to be mindful that every discussion we have, every decision that we make, God, impacts the lives of children. God, that's our focus and that's our purpose in this time. So God, help us to make a better life for them. God, help us to train them and educate them and prepare them for the purposes and the plans that you have for them. And so, Father, tonight we ask you again just to give us wisdom and discernment from above. God, we ask you blessings on every child, every family that's represented. God, tonight we'll just be sure to give you the praise and glory and honor. We ask you all this in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. All right, our next agenda item, we're going to welcome back Brian Pratt, who is newly elected in District 1, and not a stranger to the board, but now a member from District 5, Mr. Joe Leviza. They're going to go down front and be sworn in by Judge Baller. And I think we're waiting on
Cedric's printing. He's bringing that.
Waiting on printout. We'll be right.
While we wait, Joe and I have rehearsed the entrance. It's all routine to do.
I have to dance, but I'm bad.
Are you mad at
Any place in particular?
Yeah, right there at the mic. Wait on you, Doc.
All right, you got it. Do we do it separately, individually, or separately? Okay.
I would ask you to put your right hand, your left hand on the Bible. Raise your right hand. Say it after me. I, Joe Leviza,
Joe Leviza,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully support
that I will faithfully support
the Constitution of the United
the
States,
Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Mississippi,
the Constitution of the State of Mississippi,
and obey the laws thereof,
and obey the laws thereof,
and that I am not disqualified
and that I am not disqualified
from holding the office of
from holding the office of Board of Trustees, Vicksburg Warren School District.
that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office upon
I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office
which I'm about to enter,
upon which I'm about to enter.
so help me God.
So help me God. Thank you, Judge.
Welcome back to the session.
That's about my 10th time.
Can we do you better? Put your left hand.
Left hand. Raise your
Right hand. Say, I
I, Brian Pratt,
do solemnly
do
swear
solemnly swear
that I will faithfully support
that I will faithfully support
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi,
and the Constitution of the State of Mississippi,
and obey the laws thereof,
and obey the laws thereof,
that I am not disqualified
and I'm not disqualified
from holding the office,
of School Board Trustee,
that I will faithfully discharge
that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the
the
office
duties of the office
upon which I'm about to enter,
upon which I'm about to enter.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
We need to fill those out.
Yeah, there's something each of you need to sign, but, and we'll
Okay.
file those with the clerk.
All right, we'll do that.
Thank you very much, Judge. Okay, we will, now, we're gonna have to replace, our vice president, who was Miss Sally Bullard, who has vacated her seat. Can I get a motion for vice president from any member?
I'd like to make a motion that we elect Mr. Joe Levias, Vice President.
Second, Sturgis.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Joe, for taking that.
Yes.
Coach, thank you for your motion. We'll go to D1, the adoption of the agenda.
Make a motion, we adopt the agenda as presented.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Mr. Secretary, E1.
Board members, you have before you, I have to see which the actual dates are, because it's not on here. The December 15th minutes for your review. Are there any additions or deletions to the December 15th minutes? Seeing as none, I make a motion, we accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. Go to F1, Mr. Superintendent.
Well, it's gonna be pretty narrow, for me. Had a lot of meetings and some committee stuff and all that good fun thing, but I did get to see the most amazing experience today. At 4 o'clock, we began our Academy Showcase. It is at the Convention Center, and the students are prepared to solicit enrollment into the academies from the junior highs as they tour through there. And you can see the incredible project-based learning and work-relevant experiences that our students are having. Got to spend a little time with them before I got to meet with you fine people. So other than that, that concludes my update.
Mr. Superintendent, may I?
Oh, yes, but I've got a proclamation that has to be read before we move to the next agenda.
Can
Go
I
ahead.
do mine?
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
You over at the Mississippi School activity, you got a busy day.
Oh, well, yeah, but that hadn't gotten there yet, but we do have 2 awards that we're gonna receive over there, and when we have them in hand, you can rest assured we're gonna add them to the trophy case over there, but we're pretty excited about both of them. It is, it's gonna be cool. I've got a keynote session with our district. We've been asked to present the innovations that we're doing, so it's incredible to be recognized, no doubt about it.
There's several different calls for it. Catch it. Good day.
Yes, sir.
All right. That's awesome.
Mr. Superintendent, I guess I'm not trying to beat a dead horse to death because my wife will beat me when I get home. I'm just kidding for those of you all who think I'm serious. But last month I asked about the safe cameras that the city has been involved with us with, and you had mentioned that they didn't get back with us. If my memory is correct, by the way, I'm 64, so I do tend to forget. I can go on the wrong path. But I think I remember you all saying that they had not gotten back with us. So I wanted to make sure that my mind was correct, and I got the email where they'd emailed somebody in November about after our meeting that we had here that she presented to us. And I just been thinking about it. I'm not trying to, I just want to land the plane so I can stop talking about this. But in Mr. Levias's Vicksburg Post, when he was running, he said something that was real interesting, which concerns the safe cameras that the city wants to put out in front of the schools. And he said, all trustees must ensure student safety at all school events. Well, I want to join him with that. That's why I keep bringing this up, because we, the trustees, for the safety of the students, we also want to ensure their safety in the schools. And then, unfortunately, there are times when the cameras will enhance students' safety by deterring criminal activity. And the sad part about it is sometimes students often engage after school and partake into extracurricular activity, which then can pinpoint that Jim Sturgis started the fight, Jim Sturgis was in the fight, Coach Stevens was in the fight, Coach James was in the fight. So we can pinpoint it. So it can help alleviate some of the problems that we are encountering at the schools. And then so often we have like the 6-year-old person that shot the teacher. Unfortunately, that happens. Unfortunately, you had 2 killed at a charter school. So it is time for us to rethink, and then if I drive by at night and do something to the schools, the city can pinpoint what car it was. So it's something I still think we need to look into and again, land the plane, and I'll stop talking about it. But and we have ESSER money that we can use because it is for the safety of the schools. And I will stop talking now because my wife has sent me a message and told me to stop talking.
Have we said no to it?
We have not.
said
All
no.
right, so if you don't, can I indulge?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I received an email January 4th from Kim Naylor with the city that outlines the resolution. It was essentially the resolution that the city adopted. And it has a proposal in here for the final cost. That's one thing we haven't figured. So there's 2 variables in my mind. One was the cost of this thing, and the other one is how do we protect the county schools with the same diligence that we're going to protect the city schools?
I am so happy you asked that question because I talked to the board president and she says no one has called her. So that is very interesting.
The Board of Supervisors?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think anybody has talked to us.
So you can't use that as
No, I'm just saying
as a
that was
gauge until you talk to them and find out.
Right, I'm just saying that was my holdup, was those 2 things. But
I
the cost-
understand.
So the cost is this, and I'll get very, very detailed.
Yes, sir.
So there will be 2 cameras at Vicksburg High School, there will be 2 cameras at Warren Junior, 2 cameras at Vicksburg Junior, 2 at AOI, 2 at Bomar, 2 at Warrenton. That total cost to the district is $24,300, which is in line with what she told us. And then every year we will pay essentially a $50 per camera fee, which is going to total up to $600. There's no money. And I think one of the other things was we were worried about who was going to have access to this, but I think they explained that to us that was a secure.
Correct. Yes, sir.
And so, I mean, without having, this happened January 4th, so we didn't really have any way to get anything on the agenda now. But if you would like for me to speak to Ms. Barfield, I'll be glad to.
I can handle that. These are, and just for clarification purposes, we have cameras on site. These will be in front of the schools, so they're a little bit different. I just didn't want anybody listening to this think that we didn't have any.
I didn't want to give up those intricate details.
Right,
because
right.
we shouldn't give up the security that we
Right,
have.
you can see
But you're,
what you enter.
okay. Yeah, so I just didn't want to, that's the only reason why, sir.
Executive session.
Yeah, well, we get on it. I have no problem with that. Matter of
Okay.
fact, Dr. McGee is leading the charge, and
I appreciate you very much.
yes, sir.
That's all I have, Mr. President. Thank you very much.
Yes, sir. All right, so the next thing in my superintendent's report is a CTE month proclamation. And Christie? Oh, Dr. James, you want to read it? You're more than happy. Welcome.
Did you take my pen?
I was looking for one. I like it.
I got one.
Thank you.
Man, that's it.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, Doc.
We are nearing the end of January and approaching to the Love Month. But on top of the Love Month, it's also CTE Month. And we like to take this time every year to inform you all in the community about CTE Month. we are asking for you all to sign the proclamation. It is a very long proclamation to read, so would you all like me to read the proclamation?
Absolutely.
Okay. And I do have two people behind me after going through the proclamation. CTE Month Proclamation, Vicksburg Warren School District. Whereas February 1st to February 28, 2023 has been designated Career and Technical Education Month by the Association for Career and Technical Education. And whereas Career and Technical Education offers students the opportunity to gain the academic, technical, and employability skills necessary for true career readiness. Whereas students in career and technical education programs participate in authentic, meaningful experiences that improve the quality of their education and increase their engagement and achievement. And whereas career and technical education provides students with career exploration opportunities earlier in their educational experience, which enables them to make informed and beneficial decisions about their academic coursework and pursue established programs of study and career paths. And whereas leaders from business and industry nationwide report increasing challenges related to addressing the skills gap and connecting qualified professionals with available careers in critical and growing CTE-related fields, including healthcare, energy, advanced manufacturing, and information technology. And whereas career and technical education prepares students for these and other fulfilling careers by offering integrated programs of study that link secondary and post-secondary education and lead to the attainment of industry-recognized credentials. And whereas ensuring that employers have access to a qualified workforce is a crucial step in ensuring productivity among the business and industries communities, as well as continued American economic growth and global competitiveness. And whereas the Smith-Hughes Act, the first act of Congress to provide funding for career and technical education, was signed into law 101 years ago and allows us to celebrate how far CTE has come to become a powerhouse of America's economy. Now, therefore, I, Chad Shealy, Superintendent of Vicksburg Warren School District, do hereby proclaim February as CTE Month. So that's the proclamation. Behind that proclamation, we have two students. If you ladies could join me. We have a student in early childhood education. Her name is Madison Gracie Hull. This is her second year in that program. We also have behind me Ms. Kaya Nettles. Ms. Kaya Nettles, if you looked at the paper not too long ago, she had won an essay contest that she submitted, and they awarded her down at the Riverfront Park, and her essay was titled "Voting is a Right Responsibility." So just want them to briefly kind of discuss what they're getting out of their career and technical education program.
Hey, good evening, board members,
Good evening.
Shealy, and fellow guests. I'm here to come to you today to request that we acknowledge February not only as the month of love, but also as Career and Technical Education Month. By signing the CTE Month proclamation, our school district will recognize this month as an esteemed honor. Being career technical education is played an essential part in my educational journey. It has allowed me to not only use my academic knowledge, but my technical skills to become and pursue my career. Now, technical education has allowed me to join the early childhood program, and this is going to allow me to make a difference in the teaching world. I'm going to allow children to be able to come to school freely, feel safe to come talk, and to be able to become excited to learn, because I know nowadays not a lot of students are excited to come learn. They don't want to get out of bed. Along with this, it also gives me a lot of experience. I've been able to go to Beechwood Elementary, thanks to Dr. Adams, and go specifically into classrooms and work hands-on with students and teachers, and also get to meet a whole bunch of people who also have the same passion as me. Thank you for seeing this month as CTE Month, and we appreciate everything the school board and our superintendent does for career and technical education. Thank you.
All right.
Good job.
Good evening, board members, Superintendent Shealy, and fellow guests. This class has also allowed me to gain a better understanding of the global economy and the business world. Through this education, I have learned to think critically and creatively and to communicate effectively. Career and technological education has been a lot of help this year. It has provided me with the skills to pursue the career path I have chosen and given me the confidence to take on new challenges. It has also given me the opportunity to explore new software and hardware and to explore different methods of problem solving. I feel this type of education is invaluable in helping me reach my goals and realize my passions. This class has also allowed me to gain a better understanding of the global economy and the business world. Through this education, I have learned to think critically and creatively and to communicate effectively. Additionally, I have learned the value of networking and have developed relationships with other professionals in similar fields. By studying trends in technology, I am better prepared to work in a variety of industries. My educational pursuit has also enabled me to become more well-rounded. Through my studies, I have learned to have a more well-rounded view of the world and have developed a better understanding of the complexities of different cultures. I have also become more comfortable in my small business and have gained the skills necessary to be an effective problem solver. I have also gained a more robust understanding of the global trends, which has been invaluable in my current career. Career and technical education has been a vital part of my personal and professional growth. It has enabled me to gain the skills and knowledge necessary to succeed in my chosen field, which also gives me the opportunity to develop a better understanding of the world around me. Through my studies, I have become more confident, capable, and prepared to take challenges and arise in my career. Technological education has been invaluable in helping me reach my goals and realize my passions. And I am thankful for the opportunities that it has provided. Thank you for recognizing this month as CTE month. We greatly appreciate everything our school board members and our superintendent do for career and technical education.
Great job. Ladies, I certainly appreciate you coming and testifying. And Doc, anybody that knows me or us as a district, I think it's completely appropriate to have February, the love month, and CTE month the same, because you know I love me some CTE, that's for sure. Great job.
And the program that Kaya Nettles was talking about was it used to be called Keystone, but it's called Exploring Careers. And so when she talked about being well-rounded in that particular class, they talk about the 16 national career clusters. So it's helping her determine which path she plans on pursuing. So everything that we've been doing for our students, as you can see, as a testament, her winning competitions being exposed, and of course they got fabulous teachers. Ms. Morgan is here, and Ms. Kay Chaney with Hines. They're doing an awesome job. So thank you all.
Great job. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, it's a real pleasure for me to move that we adopt this petition this month. I wrote the first vocational plan for the Vicksburg Warren School District in 1963. And I'm glad I lived long enough to see these students doing so well.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's my motion.
All right, we have a motion and a second to adopt that resolution. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
And unless anybody else needs it, that concludes me. All right, good. Let's roll. All right, Jason, Mark, do we have somebody on here for project updates?
Hey, it's Jason. You've gotten me tonight. Mark was out doing some family stuff. So unlike Chad, I'm going to be brief, and I really mean it. Our biggest project we've got going on right now is Warren Central High School. You can see in your report, we've got Vicksburg High pretty much buttoned up. The curb has been poured, so that project is in a warranty phase. But Warren Central is kind of it's the big animal right now. You've got a separate report that Mark sends to you guys that's attached that kind of goes into some details. But the biggest things to note here is the Agora structural steel. We've got some miscellaneous attachments to make, but that steel is up by and large. We've got the Paraland beams and some wood decking. We're getting really close. And hopefully we'll have that putting up before the rain gets here next week to continue to stop some water intrusions. The dining expansion, it seems to be going really, really well. We've almost got the VCT. They said they can be done by the end of the month, and I reminded them that that's next Tuesday. So they'll be close. The bigger thing that we're just kind of waiting on is the media center, the VCT. We've got some slab moisture issues, not issues that are uncommon. We just can't do anything until we get some heat and air in that building to kind of get that slab stabilized and get flooring going down. But they are finally making some of the progress that we've been after. They're still saying that they're on track for their schedule they submitted at the end of the year. So we will see how that continues. Next on there, the big thing, we should have a final review with Archives and History on Bomar by the end of February. So I'm hoping by that board meeting, we'll be ready to submit for that grant reimbursement on that project. So as far as an update, that's what we have. No action items tonight to go over.
Jason, have some questions for you. On the Vicksburg High curve, is that fully addressing the water issue we have now between the girls softball field? That's still something else we've got to do?
I'll address that in just a second.
All right.
Okay. Secondly, and if
Did Kimball say something about that?
Yeah, he's gonna,
I thought I heard somebody.
Yeah, he said he was going to address that. The other question
Okay.
was, and if I missed it, I apologize, but you remember when we had the asphalt issue between the junior highs and it didn't meet spec and they were going to take it up? Has that been remediated?
They did mill a lot of that, and we had it resurveyed, and it did meet the fall that we have with the new survey.
So was it a fall issue or a compaction issue?
It was more of the fall, if you remember, where they kind of had their grades off, and what they couldn't do because their grades were off, their milling machine, as they would come up, it would, not their milling machine, I'm sorry, their roller, it would bite as they would turn. We went and looked, and they basically added more surface course in those areas, and it tightened it up.
Okay. All right. So that's been addressed. That's all I had. So thanks, Jason.
Okay.
So to address, yeah, so Mr. Joe?
Speaking as a representative of the people, so many people ask me, when will Warren Central be complete? Do you have any approximate date?
Yeah, I think Jason, wasn't it May, wasn't it? May the day?
Yeah,
the contract?
off the cuff, I don't have it right in front of me, and I can get you that exact date, but I want to say around May 21st, and I want to say that was like a Saturday or Sunday, is when they are anticipating us to come in and inspect, and we've got the remaining in the balance of furniture scheduled for June 1st, so we're pushing on that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
To address what Brian just mentioned, so along Army-Navy Drive and between the girls softball field and the ROTC building below the band hall at VHS, there's a severe erosion problem. We have been accepted by the National Resource Conservation Office to, we're going into the design phase to get that fixed. And what's happening now is all the water's coming from the band hall, it's going down the hill, it's washing mud across the softball fields. The city's having to fix that every time it rains. So we applied with NRCS to get on their erosion control plan for 2023, and we were accepted. So we're just waiting on all those boxes to be checked now. And then we'll be presented a plan by Neil Schaefer, who we awarded the little contract to get this going. And they will make a recommendation as to the construction time, date, and all that, and whatever our match is going to be. Jason, I've got one thing that came up the other day, and since Eric's sitting here, I want to talk to him about it. So on the locker infills in Building A, Eric, just come up here and tell us what's going on, if you will.
So the locker infills, I guess they've been on our agenda, for about 7 years now, something like that.
And they're gonna fix it.
Yeah, a little longer.
Whenever we have a break, it was gonna get fixed.
Yeah, that's right. So nothing really has progressed. I know that they came in over Christmas in a small patch on the 200 hall. They did some stuff to it. Mark and I have talked back and forth about this. B building, the locker infills that they did, everybody pretty much likes. To the naked eye, you can't tell that there used to be lockers there. A building, there's still the recess. They haven't done a whole lot to them. And part of the problem is right now is the way that they had it initially set up, it's not holding very well. Kind of what Mark and I have gone back and forth about is I would like to see it fixed right. I would like to see it
And to
fixed
fix
like.
right, we need to tear it down.
Correct. Mark, even the other day, we went back and looked at the quotes that he got 18 months ago, maybe, for the tile. Of course, you know, that quote's not good anymore, but it was something around $60,000 to fix them. I would like to see it done the way that it was in B building. Right now, even though it's not a finished product, not even close to being it, it catches dirt with the lip. There's trash that collects there. It's hard for the custodians to keep it up and clean.
And it looks really bad.
And it looks really bad. And if we don't fix it right now, it's going to look bad forever. And that's just, as the principal that walks those halls every day, that's just kind of my suggestion. Mark even said the other day when we were talking, possibly coming up with a solution that we haven't thought of, maybe overlaying the whole thing, and seeing what that would cost to bring that to the building.
The problem with overlaying the whole thing, because I've looked at it, is the studs that are behind that plaster facade that's there that was above the lockers, it's not attached to anything.
Correct.
It's not stable. So you can
Correct.
you can attach anything you want to it, but that entire, when we were behind the auditorium, you take your hand and do this
Yes.
on that portion of 2 feet above the lockers, and the entire wall moves. So there's nothing supporting it.
Correct.
So the only way to fix it is to tear it down and build a wall
Yeah.
from the ground up. And
Yeah, and that's what they did in B building. That's pretty much that process that they did. It came out, it looks nice, it's holding up well, and that's been done for a year and a half now. And it's done fabulous. That would be my suggestion. And I bring it up to Mark just about every time we talk. Hey, what about the locker infills? Because it's been, you know, and nothing has been done.
Jason, my question is when the plans were drawn up, the walls they're talking about, whatever they're talking about, at that particular time, everything was supposed to be stable and you just go with the flow. So I'm questioning what I'm hearing tonight is why all of a sudden there's a change. If there's a change, let me rephrase that because I'm assuming.
Jason, did you hear that?
Yeah, I did. Yeah, I did. I wasn't sure if he was continuing. So as it was designed, obviously a lot of that stuff was demo, and what was going on behind the plaster again was, I know you use the term all the time, late condition, didn't know what was back there. So as far as structural behind, there was not a specific design. Mark and I have argued with Albritton to the point that they agree that they've got to, the documents require that they attach something to that. And you may remember, and if Eric's still standing there, the product, I think it was called Forbo at the time. They've got to have something substantial to attach whatever system that they're attaching to it. So in saying that, whatever we end up going with is going to dictate what they put behind that. So I know someone we were just flushing out with sheetrock, and we had some deteriorating plaster, and it was kind of flopping and weak at the top. So I think ultimately it's going to come down to what goes in there.
So
Okay,
a lot of this came apparent when you removed the lockers, you saw that there wasn't anything there supporting it. So we did a change order, I believe, to fix this, even without tearing, and they thought they could fix it, and they've made attempts, and it hasn't worked. So have we paid them anything on the change order? Do we have?
No, we have not.
Okay, good.
Jim, you said?
Well, I was going to that, and I'm just, I guess I'm stuttering because my mind is not going it's going faster than my mouth is, and I guess I didn't get a clear answer in my mind as to what the plan said and what actually happened. And I know it's an old building, and I guess we're changing some things, and I understand all of that. But it's just, that wall should have been somewhere in the plans, knowing that.
Yeah.
That.
So I think, from the way I understand it, there were plans that were there assuming that the structures were good. And then once kind of like, if you remember when we were on that back hall, top floor at Vicksburg High, and they were doing renovations over where they were making that office. And then they pulled the drop ceiling down, and then all of a sudden there wasn't a wall that went and connected to anything. It's similar to that, because they weren't aware that the structural problems were problems until they removed it, which resulted in a latent condition, is what they call that. And then they have, and if you'll remember, Mark or Jason or everybody can contest, it was the first thing that I made a fuss over was that locker infill, the way they tried to deal with it. And they've been, since the beginning, trying to find a solution to get it done. One of the solutions they had was, look, y'all can just do it, and then we'll just take it out and give you credit for the original part. The only problem with that, the fix was going to be more than the money they were going to give us to do it. And I said, well, you're not going to get off the hook for dealing with a difficult problem just because it's difficult. So I think, there were a lot of poor attempts to fix it, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's kind of what happened. Even
Yeah.
what was approved by the board, they went and tried to do, and it didn't really do what they thought it was going to.
It's like down there on if you walk all the way down at the end of the hall, I know they were doing sample kind of pilot sections of it to try to find it, and there were, plaster applications that didn't adhere because there was nothing for it to stick to. So I think that's.
Yeah, yes, okay,
Did
so.
that answer it or not?
Yes, sir, yes, sir. I kind of get a picture of what you're saying.
Yeah.
So my last question is, the money that we have out there, will it take care of everything that needs to be done? Or will we have to go outside the budget to pay for this extra?
Yeah, I think this would be the additional, and I'm answering, Jason, if you can get it done for what it was originally in there for, I'm happy for that, and I'll just say yes, but.
Yeah, we took the credit back, and again.
Right. But that was for the board applications and the metal trim though, wasn't it?
That's correct.
Right.
So once we just hard decide exactly what's going back in that space, Mark and I, we got a pretty good fight to get the backer stuff put in at no cost.
Good.
We've got to either take a credit on what they've given us, or what they proposed they were going to do that we have not paid them for, and versus what we finalize what we're going to do. And it could be a credit or it could be an add back. From looking at the total budget and Warren Central project contingency and owner's contingency, I do think you have funds to address any issues you have there without going back into district funds or anything like that. I think we can handle all of this with bond issue construction dollars.
Right. But it would be a.
Does that answer the question?
Be a
Yes,
change
sir.
order from contingency.
So can you give
Yes,
us
sir.
a cost? I mean, nice to know Jason, can you give us a cost of what credit we would get back and what the proposed cost would be to fix it?
Actually, Mark is already working on that. Correct me if I'm wrong in that, Eric.
No, he's getting numbers from what I'm
Yeah.
understanding.
Okay.
There's some preliminary numbers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So Jason, if you will, with Eric's blessing and Chad's blessing, will you get all that buttoned up before the next board meeting where we can take action on it?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
And also the timeline of when it can be done, because I don't want to approve something else and we're going to wait till September next year if we approve something that's not to be done. So whatever y'all come up with, can you tell us when it will be, when it can be
Yeah,
done?
that's 100% correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Eric.
Thank you, Ken.
Hey, thank y'all.
Jason, one more question.
Sure.
If you have this, fine. If you don't, just say I don't have it. Do you have a number that reflects the remaining money in the overall bond issue? How much cash is left in everything?
Yes. Do you want me to get that to you right now, or do you want to email with the complete budget?
No, I'd like the public to hear it if it's okay.
Yeah, sure. Hold on one second. I actually have it right in front of me. So as of, and we'll input Warren Central's documents February 1st. So, I mean, this number is going to be off like probably $2,500 to $3,000. But total positive funding for the district is right at $308,000 as a balance to spend that you've already allocated to construction projects.
Okay, 308. All right, that's close enough for
Yep.
us to have a conversation. Thank you very much, and thanks for coming online and helping us tonight.
Absolutely.
All right, let's go to H1, Ms. Lewis.
Good evening.
Good evening.
The financial statement financial report as of the January board meetings. The statement of cash flow, the ending fund balance for our statement of revenues and expenses does reconcile to the ending cash flow balance for December. As of December, the estimated district fund balance is $14,395,499.86. Our MAEP collections for December is $2,353,450. This continues to be consistent throughout the fiscal year as of now, and hopefully it will remain throughout the year. For the casino revenue, we received our casino revenue on time. The November revenue totaled $58,274.82. We booked that in January due to the Christmas break, but it's delayed, but I do have it on the report as of December because it was received in December. And we have not received the December revenue as of yet, so we're anticipating that probably tomorrow or early next week. And that concludes the financial report.
Ms. Lewis,
Yes.
do we have some funds in an interest-bearing account?
Yes.
Have we talked to the banks about raising the interest rates on your money that you have in those accounts?
Not as of yet. We actually do have a depository that's coming up, or bid that's coming up now with, we're 3 years in, and we have to rebid our depository by June 30th. So there will be some talks there.
May I just offer a suggestion? You do as you so please, ma'am, is to, now is the time. If you're gonna bargain, now is the time.
It is, that's true. Okay.
Sounds like an ex-banker down there.
I wouldn't say that if I was in banking though.
So while you're talking, will you accept the financial report?
Oh, so moved.
All right, we have a motion and a second to accept the financial report. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, next is
We have some.
financial statement.
Yes, we have some action items. You have a contract in your packet. The CPA that performed our financial statements for 21 will be performing the same for our 22 audit, so that needs to be approved by the board.
Is that added?
You may, in your packet, it should be, yes, in your packet.
No, it's on board docs.
Yeah, it's in here.
It is, item H2.
H2.
Got you covered.
Do I go through you want me to do the three or just one at a time?
We'll do one at a time. What is the rate? Is she being paid by the hour?
Yes, up until a max. If you read the report.
There it is.
Her
I see it.
contract,
Yeah,
yes.
there it is.
I see it now. Thank you.
And we're planning this to be on, this is just reconciling the statements.
Compiling the state financial statements for us, doing our fixed asset report. And once that's done, that's given to the auditor for our 22 audit.
Okay.
But she actually, the CPA actually compiles the report for us.
Okay.
All right, can I get action on H2, please?
Make a motion, we approve H2.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right, H3 are the bid results for the plumbing fixture install.
Yes, you have before you the bid tabulation sheets for both the bids. We'll just go, I guess, for the install first. And the winner. Do you want me to give you that amount?
Yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right, for the plumbing fixture install, the amount was $1,060,581.11. The vendor is Ralph McKnight and Son Construction Incorporated.
And this is being paid for by ESSER funds?
ESSER funds, that's correct.
And the whole purpose of this is the touchless, everything touchless, updating the sinks?
Touchless fixtures, yeah, service for the touchless fixtures.
Is this, I'm sorry, is this H3?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just, may I ask a question, Mr.
Yes, sir.
President?
Absolutely.
Is this for all the schools or just
All the schools.
all the schools?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, this is for all the school, I think, if I'm not mistaken, I asked this question, it's for all the schools that don't already have this.
This is
Correct.
the plumbing fixtures.
Correct.
Yeah, these plumbing fixtures. So is this
Yeah.
updating for all the schools?
Yes.
But some of our new facilities might have it already, is what I'm saying.
The wings.
Well, they will be updated as well for
Yeah.
some of the features. AOI,
And
But
bottle
It's one
feed,
of them.
bottle-
But does it not have the touchless?
some,
Okay, okay.
completely touchless, sinks.
So we didn't have anything touchless in the district before? Okay, okay, I'm sorry.
Now the HVAC.
It's the HVAC, okay.
I think I read in here somewhere, and I might be wrong. Are there any penalties for them not completing on time?
for this project, they
Yes,
have a
yes, ma'am.
tentative date of completion for 150 days. I mean,
Right.
but that's something the vendor will put in there, but I don't think there's any revision in there if they don't complete on time.
Bill, you overseeing this one? Or is this?
Yes.
Okay.
So they
And
could,
But
LDs.
so how are they getting paid?
the funding.
Yes, I'm speaking of, how they
increments
billing
how
us.
they pay. Well,
And the reason why I asked that question is, and excuse me for cutting you off, the reason why I asked that question is, they say 150 days, and they hear 366 days, but you've paid them for the full amount at 150 days. Somebody is stuck.
right, and the provisions will be in that contract.
So you don't have the contract, is what you're telling me?
No, we do not. We just have you have to
But
approve the.
one
the
would
bid whether-
assume that the
So we do
contract
not.
would say, since you have a per item cost to replace, let's say, the toilet flush valves, that if there's 645 toilet flush valves to be replaced, if they get your 120 days in and only replaced half of them, we should not be paying them until they've done the work.
Right, so once she gets the I'm sorry, I didn't realize you did not
Yeah, we do
have the
not,
contract
yeah. This is
signed,
just
sealed, and delivered. Okay,
To approve the bid winner.
okay,
Um,
okay. But, okay.
Okay, can I get action on H3? Any other questions?
Yes, I will make a motion that we accept the lowest bid for Ralph McKnight and Sons Construction for $1,060,581.11.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. H4 is going to be the HVAC system.
Yes, okay, the next bid, the lowest bid came from Metro Mechanical, and that bid came in at $1,509,770.
I have one question about this, if somebody can answer it. What are they doing? I read every word of this thing, and I can't figure out where they're putting what.
They're replacing all the rooftop units at South Park Elementary. They fallen through the cracks with the bond issue and the Johnson Controller project that we did. And chiller at WCI Sherman Avenue, and then putting air purification in every unit that we do not already have.
Okay.
Bill, let me ask, on the 10 schools that you list right here, how old is the oldest chiller and all these other things that you're trying to replace? Because I know we've replaced some HVACs at some of the other schools, and I'm just, are they leaking, or are they just bad, or you just want to replace them?
Bad compressors, and the chiller that we'll be replacing at Sherman Avenue is original to the building, so it's 20,
But as long as the school been there almost, okay.
almost 25 years old.
We replaced
So,
the,
so that, and then,
We replaced one at each school.
yeah, that's what I thought.
They have two at each school.
okay.
So we'll be up to date on all of the schools if this is approved? Is that a good statement, a fair statement?
To the best of our knowledge, unless there's a link you can get.
That was a great answer, Mr. Superintendent, great answer.
All right, can I get action on H4, please?
So it's Metro, who was it again, Metro?
Metro Mechanical.
I make a motion that we accept the bid for $1,500,977 for Metro Mechanical for item H4.
Okay, for clarity, it's $1,509,770.
Yes, I'm sorry,
Yes.
it's $1,509,770.
There you go.
Couldn't get that out.
All
I
right,
put the
have a motion
comma
and a
right
second.
spot.
All in favor? All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Lewis. So let's go through the consent agenda items real quick.
Got an extra one over here. I don't know where that came from. Did you give me this thing?
All right, so we'll go through I
Man,
and
thank you.
J, let's see,
K too.
and K. Does any member wish to pull anything?
Mr. President,
Yes, sir.
I-1, I-10, I-12, I-16, 17, 18, 20, 23, no, 23 was already circled. Forget 20. I stop at 20, sir. That's the new thing.
All right, does any?
It's not a 23, it is not.
I also wanted
Not
I-1.
23.
I also wanted I-1, so we'll share that one.
Okay, yes, sir.
Any other items to be pulled?
Make a motion, we accept the consent agenda with the exception of I-1, I-10, I-12, I-16, 17, 18, and 20.
Yes, sir. You're correct, sir.
All right, I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. All right, Mr. Sturgis, I-1.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Mr. President. think last month we had asked about, and I see Ms. Taylor is here, on the school buses here, that's from Empire Truck. And then the fuel tank, we discussed it, and I just need to, I didn't get any information on it, so I'm asking, may I get some clarification on what I asked for last month, please? And the ambulance too.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
Good evening.
Starting with the two buses, those were the two buses that I purchased through the district funds. We did take possession of those. The pump and the tank is on the service truck for emergencies, to go to a bus in an emergency that needs fuel. The ambulance belongs to Vicksburg Warren School District. It was donated, and the board approved it on October the 27th of 2016. Then somehow in January the 4th of 2018, it was titled and tagged to Vicksburg Warren School District. So yes, it belongs to us and we pay the insurance on it.
Yeah, it was donated by the city. When we went down that rabbit hole, I didn't even know where it was going because I didn't know what we were talking about because I'm never giving it away to anybody. So, you know, it's always been ours.
Oh, so we didn't give it to Hines?
No.
No.
It operates out of the
Whatever.
public safety.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been ours the whole time. That's why I thought I was in Twilight Zone. I was like, well, I wasn't gonna talk about it because I thought there's a lot of stuff I don't know. I figured that might have been one of those times, but I didn't remember us ever doing anything with it other than accepting it as a donation.
Yes,
And
sir.
it came on the heels of one of our initial trips out to Nashville, and we went to one of their labs, and they had in the classroom a back end of an ambulance that was affixed to the wall, and they did live crime scenes. And we came to the city at that point, and I said, look, if you ever have an ambulance that you're gonna dispose of or anything like that, we'd like to maybe recreate a place on our campus. And Mayor said, well, I'll do better than that, I'll just give you an ambulance. So that's when we accepted the donation
Okay.
for that. That's what Chad remembered.
So good.
It was before my
Oh.
time.
Okay, and Ms. Taylor, on the buses that I'm going to assume that we have already approved this, that, what type of buses are they? 71 passengers, or is it a sped bus or handicap bus? That's just the word I should use, I apologize.
No problem. No, sir, they're 71 passenger diesel buses.
Okay, both of them diesel buses?
Yes, sir.
And the fuel pump, that's on your truck that you say you have?
Yes, sir, it's on the service truck.
And our tank is, the old tank is it corroded or
There
is
was
it?
never a tank on the service truck. They would use, like the red gas cans and fill them up and take them to a bus.
Oh,
So just, it's quicker and safer. Yes. Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. President.
You answered my question also, so go, you can go to, thank you very much.
Look at you reading your president's mind.
Can I get a motion and a second to approve I-1?
So moved, Sturgis.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Mr. Sturgis, I-10.
IT. No problem about graduation, because I'm glad the way the schools are graduating, and I appreciate you all very, very much on that. But my question is on the date of graduation, it is normally at the end of the month. I see now it's like the second Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, or whatever. And I'm just wondering why are we changing from what it has been traditionally?
Well, there's some privileges for being a B district. A lot of other districts get the leverage to decide if they are a B or an A district. They can have flexibilities with that. Actually, our principals got together and requested that we be able to do that because it gives them time to finish up. I mean, Eric, you're here. You can speak to the logistics of it.
So in recent years, Mr. Sturgis, with a lot of our students, more and more have been enrolling in summertime classes at colleges. And we can't officially send an official transcript to the university until they're graduated.
Right.
So what happens is it's a mad scramble the last week of school, right when graduation is done, to try to get all of that tidied up and done and sent to colleges. Now, in recent years, y'all approved us doing electronic transcripts, and that's helped out some. But we asked for the week buffer room there for us to be able to more adequately get all that information to the colleges.
And because we're a B district, the standard accreditations do allow us that leverage.
I love that answer. Oh, go ahead, Coach.
Oh, a question on that, Eric. When, how much early advertising will we do for the parents? Because a lot of parents, especially our seniors, they're locking in on what has always been so.
So we actually communicated with our kids at the beginning, students at the beginning of the year that this may be a possibility, so that they could go ahead and tell their parents and loved ones that this was a possibility. And then in communication with Mr. Shealy later in the fall, when we said, okay, we are allowed to do this. So they've known for a few months now that this was going to happen.
I love the answer, Mr. Green. But what you have to understand is traditionally that the weekend of the last of the month is tradition when people take off for the weekend and they come through and they have that already, it's been set in stone to where they can have that last week off. But I guess it's more like summertime, once everybody is done with what they're doing. And we pay you all to do your job. We pay you well. We pay you extra. I mean, just because it's going to take you a week for a mass scramble, okay. You got 1 week that you scramble. But the other weeks, you can have everything ready to where that mass scramble. And I know some people are not going to like what I'm saying, and I still love you to death. But we pay you to do that. We pay the superintendent to make great decisions, which he has done. But that is not a valid, in my opinion, just because it's a 1 week that they have to work.
I think.
I mean, that's all I'm saying. Is
Yeah,
that
I think, I understand your point, but I think what more of it is the students, because my son had this happen. My son tried to enroll in summer courses. They won't even let you pick your course, your classes. You can't finish enrolling in the courses you want to take in the summer until you have that transcript. So it's not just them having a short period of time to do it. We're inconveniencing our students. So some kids want to get a head start, or some colleges won't let you come start of your freshman year because maybe your ACT wasn't good enough. So they want you to take a remediation course during the summer. They can't enroll and they're missing classes. I know 2 students that missed out on an opportunity to enroll in a class because they weren't able to sign up for the class because they didn't have their transcript in time and the class filled up. So this is not just an inconvenience for them, it's a big inconvenience for those students that are trying to take summer classes.
and I'm all in favor of that, okay? I have no problem with that. I'm just hoping that we can, I mean, with the age that you know better than I and I'll ever know is on the computer side, it is something that can be done. I don't know what it is. You know better than me.
Well, I think the problem is it's our bureaucracy to get it done, but once it has to get to the other side of the bureaucracy at that school, and they don't have enough time to do anything with it. So I understand it's.
Yeah, so it's a hole there that can be filled, in my opinion, only. But that's all I have on that, Mr. President. Would you approve I-10, please?
All right, got a motion to approve I-10?
Second.
Got a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I-12?
On the Do we know how many students this entails? Oh, by the way, ELO, for those who, like me, didn't know what it stood for, it's Extended Learning Opportunity. I just want everybody to understand, Extended Learning Opportunity. Do we have many, and the reason why I asked that, is this list accurate? Because I believe I know, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir. What happened is that we had two teachers that decided not to continue on with tutoring for ELO, and so Dr. Allen needed to replace those with two new teachers so that she can continue on finishing out ELO for this school year.
So those two that decided not to, they're on this list, correct?
They should have been removed from the list, and the two that are bold are the new ones.
There's some asterisks down here, so I'm going to assume
Yes,
those are the new ones.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so everybody else is still employed with the school system?
Correct.
And the original question was how many people will this service?
Yes, sir.
Do you know that, Ms. Hill?
I'm looking in her folder now. I don't see a student listed.
Or just an approximate, you don't have to give me a definitive answer, I'm looking at and I know what happens, some teachers decide that they want to be off and you have some extra teachers, I get that.
It's about 80 or so kids. She has
Okay.
about 20 kids on the page, it's about 4 pages of stuff.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to move that we approve I-12, please.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve I-12. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. I-16.
Okay. Oh, now we need to talk, Ms. Taylor, we need to talk about our electric buses.
Good evening again.
Good evening. Okay, on those electric buses, that two are going to be handicapped.
Yes.
Yeah, handicapped, and then the other 7 will be.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so my first question is, when that bus breaks down, do we have people certified
Yes.
to work on the bus?
Part of the contract is service.
Oh, so we're going to contract?
Yes.
So how much is that going to cost to contract?
Same thing. It's all in the same bid. Because when we first went down this road, I was like, we're not doing this. This is crazy and I like money. But when I got in there and we started doing some research around it, we brought a crew in and talked to them about what they were going to do, what they were going to provide for us. And part of because Ken Moody was in there too, and I said, we're going to incur additional training where our staff has to be brought up, to scale to service these, because transmissions are completely different. You're talking about motors on wheels and not,
Right.
same types of moving parts. And they assured us that that was a part of this, and that the bid price came from the grant that's out there, and the maximum, they're actually on the state contract, and we pulled those. These numbers came in a little lower than that, because they were like, well, we're going to try to make it fit in your budget. And I said, no, you're going to make it fit in the budget or you're not going to get it. So they were real good in the way they dealt with everything. That was one of the questions that I asked too. We're going to incur additional costs for service, and they assured us that that was part of what they do.
So maybe that's, okay, so maybe that's that 12-year, 200,000 tow-in warranty that they have.
Yes, sir.
But I noticed they didn't have that in the handicap buses. That was only for the other 7 buses with the 12-year. And then they had something with and the batteries, do you know how long the battery's gonna?
10 years.
And, that Allison warranty, do you know what that is? I was just reading all of this, trying to let you know I read the package.
The Allison warranty is like, the motor of it. So
Okay.
it's warranted too.
And it's 7 years. So, actually, you don't, unfortunately, look like they do more for the 7 buses and less for the 2 buses, which is gonna, I hope, doesn't create a problem. And you know, I'd rather do more for the 2
I know
buses than the 7 buses. But anyway, okay, so now
Is that an oversight that they're not?
Yeah, that's never been cited as any of those were left out of that service agreement.
do you know how many, will you be using as coach? I'm probably stealing something you're gonna say, so I'm gonna let you go, Coach, because I got a few more questions.
To the superintendent, buses are going to cars to, all our superintendents in the state are in coordination with each other to make sure that we have those chargers on the Greenville or.
So there won't be long trips on these buses. Limitations, we've only got 3 routes that will require even a double charge.
Okay.
Even though the routes themselves do have the capacity to make that entire, within 150 miles, wasn't that what it was? 130 miles. You could make them, but there was only 3 of them that we wanted to make sure it has an evening charge, but those aren't ones we're gonna send out of town.
Okay.
These will be en route, in district, and then part of the $200,000 of this is reserved for the charging station for us. So we will be the only one servicing ours.
Okay.
Now, I guess theoretically, as the world turns and Teslas take over and Fords have their electric vehicles, those systematic charging stations will begin to pop up. And then, maybe we can make a different decision at that point, but these will be in town.
Okay, so we're gonna have them out at, Ms. Taylor's place, that's where they're gonna be?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Any further questions?
I would like
No,
to just,
I'm
if we do
down.
approve this, is to find out if they can, like Jim brought up, find out why that wasn't, the optional warranty for 7 years was not included on the handicap bus.
Did they ever state that to you at any point?
All of them should have had the same warranty.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, I don't see it, but I see it.
Yes.
Included?
Yep.
Huh?
Why don't you approve it with the stipulation that the 2 be offered the same warranties and conditional equipment
Okay.
as the 7?
Okay.
You wanna make that motion? Is that all, Jim?
With that, yes, sir, that's all.
I-16, somebody motion that?
I say we accept the grant funding purchase of electric buses and charging station, with the, condition that all the buses, including the handicap buses, have the same warranty.
Have a motion to second, all in favor? Motion carries. How about I-17, Jim?
I'd like to, before we move on, if you're okay with that, I'd like to commend Ms. Taylor. There were multiple districts all across the state of Mississippi that applied for this. We were chosen. I got a personal phone call from one of my friends superintendents like, man, how in the world he paid a contracting company to go out and create his bid for him, and he wasn't accepted. So hats off, good job. Thank you for your work.
All right, I-17,
Real quick, sir, the start date is February the 1st, but what is our ending date?
June 30th.
I'm sorry, somebody
June
said.
30th.
June 30th.
Of 23?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, with that, would that be added to the record that we add June 30th, 2023 as the ending date on this contract, please? With that, I'd like to make a motion, we approve I-17, please.
Second.
have a motion to second, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. I-18,
I-18, one quick one, sir, because the superintendent answered my other question about the change of the date. This is not a modified calendar.
No, sir. Unless you want to direct me to
No,
do
I
something
just,
different as a board.
with that, I just wanted everybody to know it wasn't,
I
but
gave a hard
it-
no from our district
it is just-
on the survey.
it is good to ask the question and never assume. So with that, I'd like to make a motion that we accept I-18, please.
Second.
motion to second for I-18, all in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. I-20,
I-20 is real quick, too. Normally, the superintendent or his surrogates normally sign? What is the difference between
So
this and?
this one kind of got, and
This one, I was gonna pull.
we can put this in executive session.
I was gonna pull this, because it's not, this is not quite finished, and maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, that was my
if you're
next question.
satisfied with the product, what I'm gonna recommend tonight is at the most, you approve it subject to, legal changes that need to be made.
Yeah.
Because I got a few.
Table it.
Yeah, he's been digging on it, and, you know, when you're dealing with a company like Apple, they kind of go,
Yeah, well,
whatever.
we'll talk about that, but.
Should we table it?
If you can table it, Coach, or if you're satisfied with the product, approve it subject to some changes that need to be made
Yep.
on the Apple, there are two different parts to this. Y'all approved the Apogee part, but
Right.
there's an Apple part too.
yeah, because what happened, the Apogee would move forward, but part of their infrastructure involves Apple icons to be on the App Store to access, which requires a whole nother.
That's way over my head. We're not gonna worry about that. So with that, I'd like to make a motion that we approve with the exception
No.
of, with
I'm not saying
the, whatever you said, Mr. Attorney.
It'd be
Yeah,
approved by-
The condition of.
Condition of the,
Yes, yes, yes.
yeah,
Legal
of
change.
the attorney.
We have a motion on I-20 and a second. All in favor? All opposed? Motion carries. All right. If y'all will allow me to jump to agenda item M2, so Casey can get up here and give us his thing. He's been patiently sitting there waiting.
Good to see you, Mr. Ruddock.
Would you, just have that in the form of a motion that the board, that you move them to?
I make a motion, we,
There it is.
skip to M2 in the agenda, and then we'll turn to our regularly scheduled session after.
I have a motion and a second to forward to M2 on the agenda. All in favor? All opposed? Mr. Redd, go ahead, please.
Good evening, Board. Superintendent Shealy. I apologize, I don't have anything, I don't have a handout or anything to give to y'all. I'm just, was asked to give an update. It was brought to our attention that we were maybe behind on some timber sales. I didn't really focus on what we had missed. I'm gonna say that those sales have just been delayed, these timber sales. I mean, you know, forestry is a dynamic thing, you know, markets change, conditions. Not everything is set in stone on these management plans. So we're kind of moving forward here. We kind of changed management styles, changed supervisors and that sort of thing. So I'm not going to say that there is some timber sales that were scheduled that have not happened, but that timber is still on the stump, you know, on the property, and just not, it has not been cut and converted to tangible money, so to speak. Like I said, we went from management plans, we're on a 10-year rotation. In 2017, the Mississippi Forestry Commission reevaluated that, and we have moved to 5-year plans to try and stay ahead of some of these things, make sure we're looking at all these 16th sections on a more timely manner, because a lot can happen in 10 years, you know, that's a long time to plan something out. I do have, so most of these timber sales that have been scheduled in the past, like I said, they've just been delayed. I was in a new position learning Warren County, so I kind of delayed some of these timber sales so I could learn the sections, learn timber types, you know, what we've got out there. So anything that was quote unquote missed has really just been kind of delayed on that. We do have 11 timber sales scheduled. Well, 13, we got 2 this year, FY23, and we've got 11 coming up between now and 2020, FY26. So we are working on getting those out. So.
And do we have that updated schedule? Because we would, while we're not going to change the schedule for some of our leasees, it would be nice to let some of them know.
Right.
They know, the old we understand what you're saying with the schedule had to be postponed or got changed. But,
Right.
it would be nice to give them some, you know, some planning or for, some time to understand that, if they have hunting or whatever they're using the property for, that we're coming in there and
Okay.
we tentatively plan on cutting, something might come up, it
Right.
might rain the entire winter and you
That's
can't get in
right.
there to do it, but our plan is to cut this timber this year, and if for some reason it doesn't happen, it will most likely happen the next year, so they give them
Right.
some heads up, so they're not just
Yeah.
caught off guard.
So at the beginning of this year, I came to a meeting, and I can send that back out, but we have an annual report of what was done last year and what we've got planned for this year. I think that would probably be the easiest thing to go by.
And that hasn't changed?
That plan has not changed for this year. And we give one of those every year, somewhere at the beginning of the fiscal year. And I think that would be the best time to let those leaseholders know, this is what's tentatively scheduled
So
for
the ones that are
this
tentatively
property.
scheduled for the rest of this year, I know the hunting season's just about over, but, it could be the fall of next year, correct? Or the fall
Well,
of this
we'll
year.
have it, going by the fiscal year, we should have it advertised and put up for bid before June the 30th of this year.
But it has to be cut before, most likely cut.
Well, most time we do an 18-month contract, so it could be cut anytime in that 18
It's
months.
gonna be hard to
from-
nail it down. to
Yeah.
tell them. You can just say it's gonna be cut in the next 24 months.
Well, that's what I want to do. I don't know that any communication has gone out to any of our leaseholders that anything's happening on their section.
Yeah,
So
that's,
can we go back and look at what you're going to put out to bid and make sure we at least give them a heads up that it's possible in the next 18 months? The market conditions and weather permitting, that this section might be cut?
that would be great. We try to keep in contact with them, but we don't know all of them, obviously, but, we try to keep that communication because we know how it is sometimes.
And then as we get that annual report going forward, we should be sending out ahead of time.
Right. I think that would be great. Other than that, that's all I have. Like I said, we do have 11 timber sales scheduled over the next 3 years, so so they were delayed a little bit, me trying to learn a new area, figuring out everything, so, like I said, I don't think we've missed anything. It's just, like I said, just storing it on the stump, basically. It's still there, and of course, unfortunately, the timber market is not great, and the future's not looking great either, so, but we have to do what we have to do. I mean, at some point, you have to do some kind of timber harvest for forest health and wildlife management side of things, so.
If the market's still down, would you think of doing even more of a selective cut versus what you probably normally do if the prices were right, or what would you do?
That depends. You're going, selective cut, you're not gonna get as much money from it. But some of them, I mean, it's just, each section's different. Some of these are in the Larsville Bluffs, real hilly. It's really not conducive to do a clear cut on them. You have to manage those, what we call uneven A's, try to, do a select thinning and keep basically 2 different timber types out there at one time. Yeah,
Is that
ideally.
to cut down on erosion, or?
That, and it's just hard to, I don't know, it's hard to get any planting or anything done in those hills like that. Better to.
So they
do a
regenerate
natural-
themselves.
that's
You're
right.
leaving older trees there to regenerate
That's
themselves.
right, yes, sir.
So is that report the same thing you gave us that day?
The annual report I gave out at I think it was the August board meeting. I think you were out that
Okay,
day.
I didn't get it, that's why I was
Okay.
questioning. I'll get a copy of it.
Yeah, I think I did bring one, yeah,
Oh, you did.
when we met in here. Yeah, I did. That's our annual report there.
All right. Does anybody have any questions for Casey? Thanks for your patience.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we'll bump back up in the agenda to L1, District Policies Review.
Good evening, board members. There's no action, just for review.
Okay, thank you. 16th section, M1, please.
You have the report, and we just have one that's due date February 1st, and they made the payment for Meridian Speedway. That's all we have.
They have made the payment?
Yes.
Ms. Lewis, did you want to take up that one on the Biggers lease? Did you want to approve that? There's one lease, Biggers lease. It's out, Bavanas, it's off Tiffintown somewhere. I don't know exactly where it is.
Yeah, it's right next to the lake. It's
Right, yeah.
between the soccer field and the,
Okay.
Yes, it just needs to be updated. Initially, there may have been some changes, but they decided to just go ahead and keep it as is. And their renewal is up actually January 31st, so we're updating their lease for another 5 years.
do we need it?
Yeah,
With Briggs.
it was $875
That's
a
correct.
year,
It's
the amount. It's not a big piece of property, but we did get, Ms. Lewis and the new lady, 16 section.
Ms. Bridges,
Ms.
yes.
Bridges got the tax assessor certificate, did verify that was the appropriate amount. That's the minimal amount of the lease. It's a commercial lease, not a bid lease, so it's, so you've got the authority to do it upon the superintendent's recommendation. So if you're ready to do it, it's right to be done. Just a 5-year renewal at the same amount.
So we need a
Unless you
motion.
got somebody knocking down your door to
No,
lease
sure.
that.
Anybody? Anybody?
So do we need to make action?
I make a
on that?
motion, we renew the lease at the verified approved rate for 5 more years.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Cassandra.
Is that it?
All right. So we need to go into.
I make a motion, we go into closed session to determine the agenda for executive session.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thanks, everyone, for coming out.